Antonioni.
Yes.
First, gonna show a little trailer.
Sometimes reality is the strangest fantasy of all. The films of Michelangelo Antonioni speak every language. This is his first in English.
What's your name? What do they call you in bed?
Leone, starring Melissa Redgrave,
This guy,
Evan
really.
Evans, and Sarah Miles. Leone is the most critically acclaimed film of the year and winner of 2 Academy Award nominations, including Best Director.
3 even, I think.
Antonioni's
Cool.
camera never flinches.
Which
And
band?
love
Which
without
band?
meaning. Murder.
Yardbirds.
without
Winner
guilt.
takes. Yes, back.
Hey, this one.
Dazzle and the madness of London today.
Yardbirds, man.
You are an eyewitness to what's happening in a world where the beautiful and the bizarre take on new forms.
Your reaction in one word.
Scared.
Okay. Now you can elaborate on it.
We have an expert, so I watched it with my girlfriend, and yeah, let's say when I saw last week, I first saw the trailer because I wanted to see what for movie it was, and the trailer for me, like we just saw, I was like, wow, this is interesting, this is cool,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, that's what I also think with the tree as well.
Yeah, and then I saw the movie, and let's build it up because I thought about it a lot, what to say, how to phrase it, and there are a couple of things that stick out for me. The funny thing for me was when it began. I was thrown off a little bit, and I for a second I thought, hey, this is like Stanley Kubrick or something. Like it reminded me something of his style in the beginning, the first 10 minutes or something, I think. And also expected like a guy like Michael Caine to walk in the door in that area of London, you know. And I didn't particularly enjoy it, I will be honest.
Or Claudia.
Already laughing. For me, the acting of the main actor, Hemmings, what's his name again? David Hemmings, I think. Yeah, wasn't particularly good in my opinion. With some moments that I found it quite annoying. Yeah, the thing for me was also, let's say like this, I watched it, I didn't hate it, I didn't think, oh, this is a bad movie, but I thought it was a very interesting movie, let's say like that. And then I needed to read more about it to get a better opinion about it, because I didn't understand it fully, I think.
I'm happy that you all start to read about the movies.
Yeah, no, I don't have this. Like, for instance, I remember that I watched an art house movie with Sven once on a lonely night, Paris, Texas, and that movie we watched from start to finish, and I didn't have to read about it. I loved it, and it was very slow, and you didn't understand it maybe from the beginning, but somehow it got to me, and that was it. And this movie for me, I hoped a bit it would do the same. But yeah, it's about a very shallow, very weird photographer in London. That the problem for me for the movie, I think, was that when you read about it, it was a very big shock in the 60s. It was made in 66, I think, and it was, I think, one of the first. Sorry.
No, you're right. It was a scandal. Like
it was a scandal. It was the first. I think it was the first time, even when I read, if it's correct. It was the first time that they really show you the life of the rock and roll life, shallow life of a photographer in the 60s in London, how arrogant these men can be, how they deal with women, flamboyant, a kind of way that for me wasn't shocking because we know so much more about this stuff now. So that already holds not up for if you watch it now, I think, for the first time. But it doesn't matter, of course, but it's I can imagine if you watch it then for the first time, you go to the cinema, it's like, oh my God, what's happening? And then I think that already misses for me a bit now. So I don't think it's a fair review I can give them. But so the story goes, he sees this couple in the park. He makes really secret behind a tree pictures of them. The woman finds out in the beginning, for whatever reason, she wants the pictures back. She then goes back to his studio and even takes her clothes off to try to offer her body in exchange to get the pictures back, and then it shoots back and forth a lot of times, which I liked in the way it was done. And then they show you that there's a picture, the picture that he made of the couple in the park. There's a man or a figure in the beginning somewhere in the right that has a gun pointed at them, and he's like, the story turns from, in the beginning I thought it's a very strange story, and where I was really thinking the whole time, where the hell is this going? And then it goes in the end like some kind of suspense thriller without giving the suspense away in the end. And because he's thinking, did I witness a murder or not? Or so that part of the movie is interesting, but yeah, I didn't think it was just didn't really catch me, let's say like that. And yeah, maybe I need to watch it again to understand it more after reading more about it. I'm very curious what Claudia.
Did you also see it?
Sorry?
You have seen it, Koen. Sven has seen it. Bas, you also? Or not? No. Okay.
No.
I've seen it. I can remember that I had problems with the beginning of the movie to get into. I was really complaining, like, "Oh my God, what is this movie about?"
Yeah. Also had that.
And at some point, I was like, after half an hour, I was into it, and then I was really triggered, and I was really like, amazed by the power of the suspense in the movie.
Really?
About what happens in the park and how did he do it. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not like amazing movie for me, like high end top 10 something like this. But I can remember I really enjoyed watching it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think the special thing in this movie, also we have to put it in context again, because it was the first English movie of Antonioni. Before he was doing a trilogy that artistic wise was much more elaborated, and I think much more groundbreaking when it comes
That's the thing, the whole time with the shots, also with when he had the 4 models and he framed them a certain way, then I can understand. But for me, the suspense and the real story aspect of it, for me, was not that mentioning, like, worth, like, that you think after, like, oh my God, what a good movie.
No,
So
I
maybe
mean,
artistic side is a bit more interesting then, but
I mean,
I call the silly park a bit for me, like, it's really silly setting, a boring park with one plant in the middle, and he made a really excitement storyline about this unusual setting, like unusual stupid setting actually, and he made it really exciting. That I found really, really, really good done.
Yeah, they didn't catch to me like that. But
I mean, the expectation. He's also playing with expectations again, and he's also playing with. And I think that's something that is in both Italian directors. And the Dolce Vita, I think, is a little bit earlier, but I mean, it's a little bit the same kind of class in a different country. It's the swinging 60s in London. And the movie has become a cult movie because he was so good in capturing this mood of this time. And I think what's
that was good done, actually.
Yeah. So
yeah.
And what was special also about it is the expectations, because it starts like, we see this photographer, and then the thing with the with this murder that we don't know if the murder happened. That's something.
That's for me. I didn't get. For me, that wasn't the best part of the movie or the interesting part at all. So that's strange, because also when you read a lot. For me, actually, when I saw the beginning, I had the same thing as Sven. When you see that group of people with the schmink and everything, the makeup, they were walking, you were like, what is this? It was a bit like Monty Python in the beginning. You're like, what's going on? What's going to happen? And then it shows you this guy driving in this Rolls Royce through his studio. And then I liked it. I liked a lot that he has this first shoot with this strange, a bit dirty model. Yeah. And then he takes his clothes off and he says, burn it. And then he goes to the other shoot completely shaven and whatever. And then he does the thing with the framing of the models.
Yeah.
that for me was really interesting, and I thought, okay, where is this gonna go? And then I thought, okay, I thought he's gonna go to another room or do again another outfit or whatever. It was a very different story I had in mind from that part, and then it went when he meets, of course, the neighbor always comes back, the woman that he cannot get.
Yeah.
The wife or girlfriend, I don't remember. I think the girlfriend of his neighbor, no, the painter.
Yeah, I don't remember so good. But
That was a scene that I thought, okay, here's something gonna happen, and then the whole thing with the murder, the murder thing with the picture didn't get to me at all somehow. I don't
that's
know.
interesting because I thought, I mean, this is the really surprising part in the plot, and this is the surprising thing of the narrative, because it's ending with something we don't know, and it's also about. Of course, you have the voyeuristic part in it because he's a photographer. You're watching, you're seeing things. Then, at some point, he becomes a witness of something he doesn't know, right? It's murder or not, and then he doesn't know what to do with it. He's not even really doing something about it. And that's,
that's for me the problem. Like for me, this is like a movie about a shallow guy.
yes.
But I think the director also somehow made it. He forgot a bit that also the movie became in my opinion, the movie became also a bit shallow. And that's why for me this whole murder thing there was no depth to it, so it didn't impress me or really got to me.
Well, what's interesting is that this movie after influenced a movie from Brian De Palma, Blowout, John Travolta, and
I saw also.
And the conversation from Francis Ford.
That movie I didn't watch yet, but I heard it's also really good.
But what's interesting is, and that's what American cinema was doing about it, because there was one part, and this is the suspense part and the murder part.
Yeah.
So these two directors took this part as the interesting part and made kind of a suspense story in a really American narrative way, where it's about thriller, mystery, but also playing actually with what is real, what is not real, but they're playing it in a totally different way.
Very different, yeah.
And not so artistic, perhaps.
Well, no, but that's the thing. Like, I didn't see the conversation yet. I also read about it that I should watch it, but I saw the one with John Travolta.
Yeah.
And that's the way the suspense there, and especially going back and forth, like is this real or not? That was I liked the movie. I liked it a lot. It was a nice movie to watch. But yeah, you cannot compare it in that sense, because the way he does it here is with the whole time is kind of artistic changes, and to think like, do you see it through his eyes, through his lens as the photographer, or do you see certain scenes maybe through the lens or the idea of the director? That's the kind of artistic approach that I liked. But yeah, for me, the suspense thing, I didn't get it. Maybe I should watch it again, but it didn't really catch me or something, get his hands on me. Yeah.
Well, it's also said, and that's why sometimes the masses are not always the one that have the good taste. I'm not saying that because it's a box office. It was a box office like La Dolce Vita as well, and I think although Dolce Vita is a great movie, I think Fellini had other great movies or more elaborate movie, and here the same. This is not Antonioni.
I heard it was his worst movie.
Then I get a bit back at La Dolce Vita. What the trouble was there? What I had is like what I also felt like. What is it? Is it a conventional movie, or is it an art house movie? It felt for me there a bit in between. I'm not sure if that's also for this movie, but it felt a bit like I couldn't qualify it completely also as an art house movie. I couldn't find the right.
I think this movie also, Claudia can say this better, I think, but I think also because of the shock, and that it was the first time that you could get this kind of insight into a lifestyle of a certain guy like this. I think it was also more for the broader audience in those times than I think now, maybe.
Yes, and I think also a big audience has always can enjoy this movie in many different ways. So and it's older, and also Fellini's other movies, they are really artistic, and Antonioni as well. And I really, we come to the top 5, but I really recommend to see his earlier trilogy, because there you see what. I mean, Blow Up is actually the end a little bit of his artistic career, because what he was great in he was great to show loneliness and feelings of the protagonist through pictures, but in a really architectural composition of images and colors. So they had like really symbolic, and it's just beautiful to see. So and I think,
Claudia,
yeah,
if it's is it typical, at least for that time, because I know of later Italian movies it's a bit different, I think, but is it typical? I also hear you say now about the images and the symbolic and the framing and those kind of things. When I thought about La Dolce Vita, what I maybe also missed, I love dialogue. I really love dialogue, and I think they tell the stories more through their images, which is fine. They have to watch it with a different eye, but I'm very much into dialogue, and they like to tell it behind the words, I think, than more with the words. Is that correct in general of Italian?
It's no.
No?
You never can generalize. No, because
But for the time,
no, you have really movies with. We also have like Nanni Moretti. That's kind of Woody Allen from Italy, and there he's talking like whole movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, but so Bas says the thing with the dialogue. For me, what was interesting immediately, because the shallowness also appears in La Grande Bellezza in not the shallowness of the movie, the shallowness of the main character, for instance. Is that something really Italian?
Yeah. Seems La Dolce Vita also.
Yeah, so is that something really Italian, Claudia, to show like the lifestyle of this shallow kind of people? Is that an Italian thing? For movies, at least.
Italians like to. I think perhaps it's more about. It's a critique on this class. It's a.
Yeah.
Is this upper class? Is this intellectual or not intellectual, rich class? And it's a critique on this class. So it's not that they like to show, but they like to show how decadent or these kind of people are. So, and the thing with like not a lot of dialogue, you can see a lot in Antonioni's earlier work. That's something I would say he's talking more through the image, because that's what he was known for, that you see an emptiness of a person through a picture, because he's showing there is like an industrial area and there is one shot and you see a woman here and the rest of the shot is empty or so, like this. Like the inner life of the protagonist comes alive through the picture and the colors.
Like you said,
Like Fellini, he had also his really own style, and that's what also he said, Fellini himself, right, in the interview about Antonioni, that, and I found it also remarkable that he had his own style, and not everybody was appreciating it, but he just went through with it, like just. That's something that inspired also a lot of independent filmmakers. That you just risk something for your artistic view on how to tell a story, and this is the thing that is inspiring for other filmmakers. Again, that you just have your style. And the Blow Up is actually there. He's already in a. I think there it's kind of a transformation of his. He's there already. This kind of artistic level done, and then you know how it is. I mean, it's
a bit of sell out to US. Bit of sell out.
His first English-speaking movie also.
Gave into the studios maybe a bit.
And he had also a big cast, of course. It was Jane Birkin in the movie. Vanessa Redgrave, like. I mean, this is also something that makes it already a blockbuster, like a hit. So
and then you can't be too artistic because you have to get the masses in, because it probably costs something, expectations are high, blah 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 blah.
Exactly. So if you like movies and you want to know more and other opinions and get more inspiration, for what to watch, then subscribe to this channel so we can get you more inspired.